Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Learning Stethoscope. In today's video, we're continuing our journey through the anatomy of the spinal cord, this time diving into its ascending tracts, more specifically into the spinothalamic tract. Let's start from the beginning. You can think of the spinal cord as the main highway between the body and the brain. Signals are constantly traveling up and down, carrying information between the brain and the body. So, to keep things organized, we divide these pathways into two main groups. The ascending tracts, which carry sensory information from the body all the way up toward the brain, and the descending tracts, which carry motor instructions from the brain down to the muscles. Together, these ascending and descending pathways make sure that the brain always knows what's happening in the body and is able to respond quickly to any change in the environment. When it comes to the ascending tracts, we have two major sensory pathways: the spinothalamic tract, also called the anterolateral system, and the dorsal column medial lemniscus tract. Together, these two systems carry all the sensory information that the brain needs to interpret what's happening in the body. Now, we experience many different types of sensations coming from receptors distributed throughout the body, but we can group them into 5 main categories: pain, temperature, crude non-discriminative touch, vibration, proprioception, and fine discriminative touch. Each of these sensations is transmitted through the spinal nerves, enters the spinal cord, and then travels up to the brain through specific pathways. The spinothalamic tract carries information about pain, temperature, and crude touch, while the dorsal column tract carries vibration, proprioception, and fine touch. Understanding which pathway carries which type of sensation is key to understanding how the nervous system processes information. And it also helps us identify where a lesion might be if a particular type of sensation is lost. Now, all of these sensations are detected by receptors, more specifically, sensory receptors, which act like tiny biological transducers. You've probably heard of transducers in solar panels. They convert sunlight into electrical energy, or in wind turbines, which transform the movement of the wind into electricity. Well, our sensory receptors work in a very similar way. They take a particular type of stimulus, such as pressure, temperature, or pain, and convert it into an electrical signal that the nervous system can understand. So, in simple terms, they turn a non-electrical stimulus into an electrical signal that travels through nerves all the way to the brain. Sensory receptors are specialized nerve endings that respond to specific kinds of stimuli. We can group them into 5 main types, depending on what kind of energy or change they detect. Mechanoreceptors. These respond to mechanical forces like touch, pressure, vibration, or stretch. They're the reason you can feel your phone vibrating, the pressure of your shoes, or the movement of your joints. Then we have thermoreceptors. These detect temperature changes, both hot and cold. They're scattered throughout the skin and help us sense whether something is warm or cool. Then are the nociceptors. These are our pain receptors. They respond to potentially damaging stimuli like extreme heat, intense pressure, or chemical irritation. They act as an early warning system, alerting us to danger so we can protect ourselves. Then we have chemoreceptors that detect chemical changes, such as oxygen or carbon dioxide levels in the blood or the concentration of molecules in our environment. You'll find them in places like the carotid bodies and aortic arch, where they help regulate breathing. Last but not least, we have our photoreceptors. Found only in the retina of the eye, these respond to light and make vision possible. They're not directly part of the spinal cord pathways, but they complete the main group of receptor types in the body. So, to sum it up, each receptor is specialized to detect a specific type of stimulus. But when we talk about the ascending tracts of the spinal cord, only 3 types of receptors are directly involved: the mechanoreceptors, nociceptors, and thermoreceptors. These are the ones responsible for carrying information about touch, pressure, pain, and temperature from the body all the way up to the brain. Now that we know which receptors are involved, let's see how these signals actually travel to the brain. They need a pathway, and that's where the spinothalamic tract comes in. As we've seen before, the spinothalamic tract is one of the main ascending sensory pathways of the spinal cord. It consists of a 3-neuron chain that carries information from the periphery all the way up to the brain. So let's start from the beginning. This pathway starts in the periphery, where receptors detect stimuli such as pain, temperature, and crude touch. When these receptors get activated, they generate electrical signals that travel along a sensory neuron toward the spinal cord. This neuron is called the first-order neuron, and its cell body is located in the dorsal root ganglion, just outside the spinal cord. From there, its axon travel through the dorsal root and enter the spinal cord into the dorsal horn of the gray matter. And it's in this dorsal horn that it synapses with the second-order neuron. More specifically, this synapse takes place in regions known as the substantia gelatinosa and the nucleus proprius. Then the cell body of the second-order neuron sends its axon that passed through the anterior white commissure and crossed to the opposite side of the spinal cord, a process called decussation. After crossing, the axons then ascend in the anterolateral funiculus, forming the Spinothalamic Tract, until they reach the thalamus, specifically the ventral posterolateral nucleus. Here, they synapse with the third-order neuron that goes from the thalamus through the internal capsule and into the primary somatosensory cortex, located in the post-central gyrus of the parietal lobe. And that's where perception truly happens. This is the moment when you consciously feel pain, temperature, or crude touch, and your brain can interpret what's happening and where it's happening. But this isn't always the exact path that the spinothalamic tract uses. Some fibers of the first-order neuron can take a slightly different route. Let's take a look at what happens. So after leaving the dorsal root ganglion, the first-order neuron enters the spinal cord through the dorsal root. But not all sensory fibers synapse right away with the second neuron. Instead, some fibers can branch into short ascending fibers that travel 1 or 2 levels up, or branch into descending fibers that travel 1 or 2 levels down. And then that's when they synapse with the second-order neuron. After that synapse, they take the usual route, so the second-order neuron crosses over the white anterior commissure and go over to the opposite side of the spinal cord, and then ascends in the anterolateral spinothalamic tract, just like we discussed earlier. These ascending and descending fibers, here painted in orange, form what we call the Lissauer's tract. So you can think of the Lissauer's tract as a short detour or side road, where pain and temperature signals travel a little up or down before merging back into the main highway, the spinothalamic tract, to head toward the brain. This branching pattern is important because it helps explain why pain can be felt across multiple dermatomes, or why a spinal cord lesion at one level might still affect sensation slightly above or below that segment. Now that the sensory information has completed its pathway, it finally reaches the primary somatosensory cortex, which is located in the post-central gyrus of the parietal lobe. This is where perception truly happens. It's where your brain interprets the electrical signals and turns them into conscious sensations. But here's something really fascinating. The somatosensory cortex isn't organized randomly. Instead, it's arranged like a map of your body, known as the sensory homunculus. Homunculus actually means little man. And if you could draw this map, it would look like a tiny distorted human figure stretched across the surface of the cortex. Each region of the body corresponds to a specific area on the somatosensory cortex. Larger areas are dedicated to body parts with more sensory receptors and finer sensitivity, like the lips, hands, and tongue, while smaller areas represent regions with less sensitivity, like the back or legs. In other words, your brain sees your body through this sensory map. And there you have it, the spinothalamic tract explained. From receptors in the skin all the way up to the somatosensory cortex, now you know how pain, temperature, and crude touch travel through your nervous system to reach your brain. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Learning Stethoscope. It really helps the channel grow and keep more videos coming. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.